Alrighty, everyone, it is time for the annual list that I do every single year here, talking about the top 50 players in the National Hockey League, top 50 skaters, that is, right now. It is time to hop into part one of that list with 50 to 26. A couple things to keep in mind here. First off, most of this list was made before the 2025-26 season began. To be honest with you, I did not have time to not only finish the list, but get it uploaded onto the YouTube channel before the season began. But a couple things to keep in mind. It is not based off of 2025-26. 2025-26 has no influence on this list. I cannot exaggerate that enough. It has no influence on this list. So that being said, then, we're going to be doing this in increments. 3 long clips going over 50 to 41, 40 to 31, and then 30 to 26 here to wrap up. It's all going to be in 3 large clips. So let's hop right in. Starting off at number 50, I'll try to go relatively quickly through this. You have Adrian Kempe at number 50. I argued he could have been a little bit higher on this list, but last year with the Los Angeles Kings, played 81 games, had 35 goals, 38 assists for 73 points with them. Overall, I thought Kempe, a really good scorer, put up 35 goals last year, was just a little bit under a point per game, but still a very solid, very underrated player with the Los Angeles Kings. There is no doubt about that for sure. He is great. Number 49, Devon Toews with the Colorado Avalanche. Toews, 76 games played, 10 goals, 34 assists for 44 points. He is known as the backbone to Makar and his overall defensive play, but Devon Toews should get a lot of credit for what he has done with the Avalanche. Very good defensive defenseman, but as well as that too, can also have that little bit of an offensive side towards him as well. He definitely deserves a lot more respect than what he is getting from other people around the National Hockey League. That is definitely what I've noticed in terms of, looking at other rankings and seeing where those guys are. He has not gotten enough respect. Number 48, then, is Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators. It sucks that he does have an injury. Again, this year is not factored into it, but it does suck seeing that injury there for sure. And when I do my list next year, there is a chance that he may not be in it because of this injury. But regardless, last year with Ottawa, played 72 games, had 29 goals, 26 assists for 55 points with the team. Overall, had some pretty solid numbers with the Ottawa Senators, and I think is a good guy mixed with some physical statures to his game, but as well as that too, some really good offensive capabilities that make him a very dynamic player, and he's got that leadership to him as well. He may not produce a lot of points, comparatively speaking, to some of the other players that are in this top 50, but overall is still a very solid player there with great offensive capabilities for sure. Number 47 is the greatest goal scorer of all time. It is Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. Ovechkin last year with Washington broke the all-time goals record at 39 years old. He played 65 games, had 44 goals, 29 assists for 73 points with the Washington Capitals. He was absolutely, bar none, phenomenal for them, and somebody who does not get enough credit, even still, even at his age, because what he is doing is absolutely phenomenal. And I've seen some people not rank him in their top 50s. You are absolutely crazy. He is still a top 50 player in the National Hockey League. There is no doubt about that. Top 10 winger, I don't know. I had him, I think, in the teens, like the early teens. I think I had him like 13 or 14 in my top 50 wingers list, which is also on the channel, the top 20 wingers list, that is. But regardless, Ovechkin doesn't get enough credit at his age for what he's doing, and I might sound crazy saying that, but nobody really acknowledges that he's 39, 40 years old, scoring 44 goals. Phenomenal. Number 46 is another guy who is a little bit older. You could argue maybe he's, quote, past his prime. I wouldn't say that, but he's still overall very good. Victor Hedman of the Tampa Bay Lightning, 79 games played last year, 15 goals, 51 assists for 66 points with the Bolts last year. Hedman is obviously the captain of this roster now. He still has that good two-way capabilities to him. He's a little bit more known for his offense now. His defensive side could be better, but it's still not terrible, even at this point in his career. Overall, has put up some awesome numbers for Tampa Bay. Is still, bar none, their number one defenseman. There's no doubt about that there for sure. But he's not what he once was. And I feel like you have to accept that. He's not what he was back in 21-22 or 2021, back in those years where Tampa Bay was just unbelievable. They were winning Stanley Cups left and right. He's not like that anymore. He's not as good, but he's still very good there as a defenseman and warrants being in the top 50 for sure. But he did drop, comparatively speaking, from the years prior. Wyatt Johnston is at number 45 then for the Dallas Stars. He enters this list. 82 games played last year with Dallas. Had 33 goals, 38 assists for 71 points with Dallas last year. I really think Johnston, not only is he still young and has a lot of time to improve, but he's also a clutch performer. This guy loves to score in Game 7s in the playoffs. He loves it. It's his favorite thing to do. Overall, really good offensive upside. I think he can get better, to be honest with you. Like 71 points last year, it doesn't seem like that's like his ceiling. I think he could probably get around 85 points this coming year. It's very possible if Dallas performs to their level, but it's crazy that he's this good and he may not even be Dallas's number one defenseman. It's absolutely wild, to be honest with you. It's actually crazy. Number 44, Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings. Got two straight Red Wings here. Larkin last year with Detroit, 82 games played, 30 goals, 40 assists for 70 points with the Red Wings last year. He was awesome for them. He's still a very good number one center. And I think even still, by a lot of people, does get a little bit overhated. And I feel like that is not really deserved, to be completely honest with you guys. This guy's still a very good number one center. Just in terms of guys like, you look at maybe Tage Thompson or you look at Tim Stützle or guys like that. Maybe he's not at that level that he may have been in his prime with Detroit. And keep in mind, Detroit has been very bad ever since he's been drafted by the Red Wings. He came in 2016, and ever since then, they have not really been that good. And I feel like if Larkin was on a much better team, we could be talking about a different narrative here. But regardless, Larkin's still a very good forward there for sure. There's no doubt about that. Number 43 then, Lucas Raymond of the Detroit Red Wings as well. 82 games played, 27 goals, 53 assists for 80 points with Detroit. I really loved Raymond. I thought he took a massive step last year for the Red Wings. And I feel like, that being said, it is going to get better from here. It is. I really look at Raymond and I just see a very talented forward who I think in the future could score 35 goals. In my opinion, he's that dynamic playmaking skill. He's got that good scoring knack as well. Still very underrated. I feel like he could probably move up this list. I think he's just now, and I mean, like last year he was really good, the year before that too, but I feel like he's just now starting to really get into that stride where like, this guy's going to be unreal. And I feel like Raymond is at that level now. He has been awesome for Detroit. Number 42, JT Miller of the New York Rangers. Miller last year with New York played 72 games, had 22 goals, 48 assists for 70 points with the New York Rangers. Miller obviously last year didn't have that like great of a year in the Vancouver side of things. Still wasn't that terrible, but the battles between Elias Pettersson and him, it definitely felt like it was getting kind of crazy in the media, and as a result, you saw a guy like Miller get traded from Vancouver over to New York. And overall, I thought that with the Rangers, he looked awesome. And so far this year, he's looked good with them too. I think there's still time for that to turn around and improve for sure. But Miller overall been very solid here for the Rangers without a doubt. And then number 41 to end off this first segment, Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators. 82 games played last year, 24 goals, 55 assists for 79 points. I said after that 90-point year, I think Stu can still get to 100 points, but I thought that after the 90-point year and then the really down year in 23-24, I thought he was going to be somewhere in the middle, and as a result, he's been somewhere in the middle. I do think, though, that he can improve and get better. I think he can reach that 90-point mark again. We'll see, though. We'll definitely see, though, if it happens. But overall, Tim Stützle, very solid offensive forward with a lot of talent. There's no doubt about that there whatsoever. Moving on, then, we get to 40 to 31 on the list here now. You start off with Brandon Hagel. of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hagel last year had a pretty good year. Had 82 games played, 35 goals, 55 assists for 90 points. Hagel might be criminally late too low. Last year with Tampa Bay took an unreal step. He is playing with some very dynamic players who are above them on the list, but even still, he has been awesome for Tampa Bay since being traded over there. And 90 points last year, I feel like he is somebody who has been incredibly under the radar for the Tampa Bay Lightning for a long time now. And again, I feel like these numbers, maybe looking at them now, maybe he should be a little bit higher. He was phenomenal last year for them, no doubt about that. Number 39 then is Roope Hintz, the other center with the Dallas Stars. Hintz last year had 76 games played, 28 goals, 39 assists for 67 points with Dallas there as well. I felt like Hintz last year, it felt like he took a little bit of a step back offensively, but still, very good number one center, can kind of do everything. He can score goals for you. He can play, make the puck, move it around. Again, he did miss some games last year, so that obviously factors into it too. And even when guys do come back, they may not be 100% in some games, but even then, Roope Hintz still has the great numbers to prove himself as a really good number one center there for sure on the Dallas Stars. There is no doubt about that. He's not the only Dallas Star in this top 50 for sure. There's probably 2 or 3 other stars that are on this list. Number 38 then, Mark Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets. Scheifele last year, 82 games played, 39 goals, 48 assists for 87 points with Winnipeg. Had a really good year on a really good Jets team. I'm expecting for his numbers to maybe go down a little bit though. Statistically speaking, when players have years like this, they do get a little bit worse the following year, but you never know. Scheifele could have the same year. He could be phenomenal, but regardless, Scheifele, I would say, is a borderline top 10 center. I have him just outside of my top 10. He has been awesome for Winnipeg down the stretch here, and has been awesome. And I feel like there's really nothing to really doubt with that, to be completely blunt. Number 37, we're back to the Dallas Stars. It's Jason Robertson. Robertson last year with Dallas, 82 games played, 35 goals, 45 assists for 80 points. Honestly, you could argue he's a little bit too low on this list, and I wouldn't disagree with you. Robertson's put up some awesome stats with Dallas, just a really good playmaker. Can also score, too. He's kind of got the best of both worlds there, and you add it up into a really good top 9 for Dallas. We've already mentioned 3 Dallas Stars, and we're not even halfway through the list. It's absolutely unbelievable how good this Stars team really is. So Robertson there at number 37 I think is definitely warranted. He has been awesome. But you could even argue, looking at some of the guys that are above them, you could even make the argument that he should be higher. And honestly, I don't know if I disagree with you, to be completely honest. Number 36 is Josh Morrissey of the Winnipeg Jets. So we're going from a star to a Jet to a star to a Jet. That's kind of funny. I didn't even prepare for that. But 80 games played last year with the Jets. 14 goals, 48 assists for 62 points with Winnipeg. Again, another really good year on a really good team. I said this in my top 20 defensemen's list. I said it sucks because if Morrissey existed in a timeline where Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes didn't exist, I feel like he would have won a Norris. I'm just going to be honest with you. With the way that you have to play offensively and from a two-way perspective to win the Norris, or honestly just offensively. It feels like this award now is just purely based off of offense. But regardless, aside from that fact, I feel like Morrissey would have won a Norris by now if that were the case. And it sucks because he's playing in such a great class of players where, you know, the small market teams do sometimes get forgotten, and the players do get forgotten a little bit, but Morrissey should not be. That's for sure. He's been awesome for the Winnipeg Jets since he's come in. Number 35, I am going to get some criticism for this, especially because of a TikTok that I just posted recently. Tage Thompson at number 35. So 76 games played for the Buffalo Sabres, 44 goals, 28 assists for 72 points with the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I got criticism because I had Raymond over Thompson in my Which Players Are Better video a couple of weeks ago. And a lot of people said to me, well, Nordic, you have him in your top 50 above Raymond. Why are you doing that? Well, the reasoning for that, and it may be kind of stupid reasoning, and I totally understand people who think it's dumb, but I feel like, I look at Thompson, I love his scoring knack, and I feel like the most important thing you have to have in hockey is to score goals, and Thompson has that ability. I think Raymond may be able to get to that scoring ability, but maybe not at the same rate. Thompson's had some phenomenal years and has been in the league more. I feel like I lean Thompson now, but it's definitely close. It's definitely close. And I feel like anybody who says that it isn't is just purely ignorant, to be completely honest with you. So Thompson there at 35. It was a difficult one, but I feel like he's still very, very good. Number 34, Jake Gensel of the Lightning. Once again, the third Lightning on this list. Last year, 80 games played, 41 goals, 39 assists for 80 points. Had some great numbers last year. Again, that was his first year with Tampa Bay. It feels like he's been there for forever now, but he has only been there for one season. Honestly, fits right in. Good young player. Not even really young anymore. He's a good player in his prime who has put up some awesome numbers with Pittsburgh in years prior, and now coming over to Tampa Bay alongside that top-heavy class with Nikita Kucherov, and you obviously have Braden Point there as well, and Hagel and such. He's fitting really well and has put up a dynamic offensive season, and I feel like you could even argue maybe there's more to be had there. So we'll see, obviously. Number 33 and number 32 are going to be a bit controversial, but number 33, I have Evan Bouchard, who does make it into my top 50 list. Bouchard, 82 games played, 14 goals, 53 assists for 67 points with the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this because Bouchard is not great defensively. But again, like I said in my top 20 defensemen's list, and I recommend you guys go watch those videos. They'll be in the card. I won't forget that. They'll be in the card. With Bouchard, his offensive game really does overtake his defensive game when you are looking at player lists. When you're looking at ranking players, his offensive game, especially when you look at like Norris Trophy rankings and defensemen, like people really value the offensive game of a defenseman way more than the defensive game at this point. And it's true. There may be some people in the comments saying that's not true, Nordic. No, we still look at defense. Definitely. I'm not denying that. There's somebody at 32 who is far more superior defensively than Bouchard is. But people love to value offense a lot more than they do defense. And that's why Bouchard makes it, honestly, this high into my top 50. And honestly, you could even argue him being higher. I really wouldn't disagree, to be completely blunt with you. But Bouchard there at 33, he definitely should be here. And anybody who doesn't think so, I think you just might hate the Oilers. I'm just going to be honest with you. Number 32, Jacob Slavin. So I kind of contradict myself there. I care more about defensive game for most of these guys. 80 games played, though. 6 goals, 21 assists for 27 points with the Carolina Hurricanes last year. Again, this guy is known for his phenomenal defense. Carolina is known for their great defense. But Slavin really locks it down there on the back end. Doesn't score a lot of goals. Probably will never win a Norris. And that sucks to say, but it's probably the truth with the way the Norris is at this point. And I feel like with the way that he's been defensively, it's been bar none for Carolina. He has been incredible. If they don't have them on their blue line, I don't know if they really go that far in the playoffs in some years. They still have a really good roster besides him, but regardless, Slavin carries a lot of that workload when you're looking at the overall offensive or defensive side of his game. Number 31, then wrapping up this second part, you have Nico Hischier of the New Jersey Devils. 75 games played, 35 goals, 34 assists for 69 points with the Devils. Hischier still very underrated, very under the radar player as well. I feel like that's one guy who people often overlook. Good two-way style, not like the offensive talent that we were like expecting when he was drafted, but even still putting up great numbers, good two-way play, good captain as well. Overall, great player. There is no denying that whatsoever. And then last but not least, we will get into the last 5 players here in the second half from 30 to 26. Starting off here, you have Jesper Bratt of the Devils. I realized that with some of these, I love to stack players together. I didn't even realize that, but we'll ignore that fact. Bratt this past year with the Devils, 81 games played, 21 goals, 67 assists for 88 points. I feel like Bratt is one of those guys who's always been very consistent for the Devils. When the Devils have had guys who have been injured or have struggled or have been ghosts in the playoffs, I feel like Bratt has always been there and has always been consistent and has always been a good player for New Jersey. And I think that for a guy like him, it's understandable. And to be honest with you, you could argue there's some players that are above them who maybe should be. Again, I post these prior on the Instagram, and there are some people who were telling me that Bratt was too low, and you might be right. I feel like he's a very good power scoring forward, good offensive skill, can pass the puck really well. Overall, loves to dish out those apples. He was dishing out a lot of apples this past year. Number 29, Nick Suzuki took a really big step last year for Montreal, and to be honest with you, I am looking forward to having him higher on this list afterwards. But 75 games played last year with 82 games played last year. I was looking at the wrong player on the list. 82 games played last year with the Montreal Canadiens, 30 goals, 59 assists for 89 points. Really good numbers there with Montreal. Again, that was his, I would say the year prior was his first breakout year, but this was like a breakout year. He got even better in this season, and I feel like seeing those numbers, he helped propel Montreal to the playoffs. And he's a really phenomenal two-way center, has got that great skill on both sides of the rink. You need guys who can play a really good 200-foot game. And Suzuki there, you could even say he's a little bit too low, but I got to be blunt, I love this player, and I really want to put him higher, but I need to see a lot more. And we will. We'll see it at some point here. I think we'll see it this season, though. Number 28, Artemi Panarin, 80 games played, 37 goals, 52 assists for 89 points as well last year with the New York Rangers. Panarin, I will say this, I've lost respect for him as a person with the whole conundrum that went down, but I feel like Panarin, great offensive player, even at this point in his career, has put up dynamic offensive numbers, still's got that good goal-scoring knack, good playmaking skill. Again, I'm saying a lot of that with most of these players, but Panarin was once on a whole nother level, and you could argue he was like in the top 20, but since then there's been players who have risen above him, and just Panarin seemed to not go on a downward trajectory, but definitely you're getting into the tail end of his career here very soon, and he's obviously in a contract year, so I wouldn't be shocked if he somehow gets like 100 points this season and just has to sign a massive deal with New York, probably on like a bridge contract, but regardless, Panarin is phenomenal. Robert Thomas then at number 27, 70 games played, 21 goals, 60 assists for 81 points with the St. Louis Blues. Thomas, I think, still is very underrated, has got that dynamic two-way sense, good playmaking. I wouldn't say he has that offensive scoring knack, like in terms of scoring goals, but really good playmaker, moves the puck well. He's got guys like Buchnevich and Kyrou and Snuggerud and players like that on his sides to really help him out there for sure. So Thomas there is also phenomenal too. And then Miro Heiskanen rounds out your bottom 25, I guess. Heiskanen, 50 games played, 5 goals, 20 assists for 25 points with the Dallas Stars. And he has been phenomenal offensively and defensively. Missed a lot of time this year. Otherwise, I would think he'd be in my top 25. But just because there's a lot of phenomenal players and some really good players in the top 25, he just barely misses. So there you go. That is the first half of my top 50 players right now. That is 50 to 26. The 25 to 1 list may come out tomorrow. It may come out in a couple of days. It kind of depends on how long it takes me to do that, because I got to make all the graphics and then edit it and then record and upload. I said that in a completely wrong order, but regardless, it also depends too, because they come out on the Instagram first, and if I post the video, it's going to be out before the Instagram post. So we'll see. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. Follow me on Instagram as well, by the way, at Nordic97_IG. Also, check out the top 20 positional lists here in the card. Some of them don't really align with this that much. That's because I made some of those videos like weeks ago, even some months ago. We spread this series out pretty far. But let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.